It is 1 week before the Masters. We are going to break down the Valero Texas Open. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy from WagerTalk, being joined, as always, by my fellow golf betting expert, Nick Borman. It's tune-up. We're 1 week away, Nick. We already had a Tiger Woods fake tweet on April Fool's Day about possibly playing next week. So the golf week is off and running. We're going to give you a long shot. We're going to give you some DraftKings Darlings. We're going to break down the course. We're going to go over total strokes gained. We'll give you some players that can trip you up. Jam-packed show. But first, we go to our one and dones here, Nick. Pretty uneventful last week. We haven't had a winner yet in our one and done.
No.
We haven't had that big $1 million purse. So I'll go to you first. Who is your one and done this week for prize money?
Mine's going to be not much of a surprise if you know this tournament. It's Corey Connors. I'll break him down a little bit later because I'm going to talk about him again. But Corey Connors, one and done. This is his tournament. He's only ever won on the PGA Tour here. So it's got to be a week he's going to do well. So Corey Connors, not a lot of reasoning behind it. It's a pretty simple play.
I'm going to go with Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood has shown he can't really win on the PGA Tour. He can't win the majors. He can't win the non-majors. Maybe the week before a major, Nick, is his sweet spot. He finished 7th here last year, 5th, 11th, 14th, and 16th the last 4 weeks. So I figure Fleetwood, I'm going to use him at least once. So
his floor is like a top 15. So you got that, right?
Yeah. A little watered down field. Maybe some of the top guys don't care too much about it. So, all right, we will keep track of that. All right, Nick, let's talk about the course here. We're going to TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course. Tough course. This is no gimme before we go to Augusta, and I think that's why some of these guys are playing this week. They got 7,400 yards, par 72, tight fairways. And you got to carry the ball long. Like you got to be 300 yards or close, and you got to be accurate because the rough is pretty penal around here. So I'm looking forward to this course this week. A lot of natural hazards. There's rocks, there's brush, there's vegetation, there's some trees here. So I think you can see some players unravel here. I think the greens are a little bit tough to read. And of course, we got to look at the weather. It's Texas. Wind's going to be 10 to 15 miles an hour, it looks like, throughout the course of the entire tournament. Rain and possible thunderstorms on Friday and Saturday morning. The Friday is what's weird because you don't know, is it just going to blow through and they play through it, or is there going to be lightning and thunder? And now we got a rain delay on our hands. So which tee times on Thursday and Friday are going to be the ones? I think we're going to have to wait until Wednesday to try and figure that one out. So listen, this is a driver's kind of, I think whoever drives the ball the best is going to be the one there. You got to be long and you got to be accurate. Like you can't just be long. You can't just be accurate. It's a combination of both. So the greens I think are fairly big. I don't think the roll-off areas are too difficult to get up and down from around the greens, but they are some of the more tough greens to try and hit. And I really think that stems from how tough the rough can be and how far you got to hit the ball off the tee. So really, really good course. It's a great setup for Augusta. I wouldn't say this course has a lot in common with Augusta, but the nature of how difficult it is, it's going to punish bad shots. What's your take here at the Oaks course?
Yeah, similar. I think this is one of the courses off the tee probably matters more than the average tour course. And, accuracy off the tee, you look at Corey Connors, who's a twice a winner here. He is that guy. He's a ball striker. He's very accurate off the tee. He's not necessarily long. He's not short either, but he's very, very accurate. If you look at recent winners, Andy, 4 of the last 6 winners actually ranked first in strokes gained approach for the week, which obviously makes a lot of sense. You're hitting good iron shots. You're probably putting yourself in the best position more often than anybody else in the field. So that does make sense. But stroke gained approach is always going to be something, and hitting good approach shots. Again, going back to Corey Connors, he's the epitome of a ball striker on tour. He just usually doesn't chip the best, really doesn't putt the best. So, but for some reason, he's figured out these greens and he likes it here. Approach shots are a little bit longer on average, about 175 to 225 yards, thanks to some long par 5s and par 3s. So a lot of mid to long iron play. You can look for guys that rank high in proximity on shots from 175, 200 and above. That could help you out with some of these approach shots. You mentioned the rough, Andy. Last week we were at about 1.5 inches. We're up to about 2.5 inches this week. Nothing still compared to Florida, which was basically 4 every tournament through Florida. But they do have a lot of native grass areas that they're going to let it grow up, upwards of 6 inches and further. So you are right. If you get a little offline, there are tree lines on several fairways, but you also could fall into some of this native grass area, and then you're in some deep trouble there. So just food for thought for guys. Two notes I wanted to make: guys that have performed very well here. So I was looking at course history, right? Total strokes gained on this course with a minimum of at least 12 rounds played here. So Corey Connors leads the way. No surprise there. Jordan Spieth, another past winner. Charlie Hoffman, if you're looking for forget about a guy that you forgot about that has a really good course history here. And he's always good for a couple splash rounds or show up randomly twice a year on the PGA Tour. This could be the week. And Denny McCarthy, who played very well last year, rolled the flat stick beautifully. Those are the top 4 guys in total strokes gained on this particular venue. And then one last thing I'll note here, Andy, you already kind of hit on the weather, but I find this interesting because I like to bet outrights. And when you're looking at the outrights this week, if you hang off the first day and you wait until after that first round, the last 4 years at this event, the winner has been no further back than 5th place after round 1. So this doesn't seem to be a course that you're, falling 6-7 shots behind and coming back on. So you got to get off to a good start. 4 straight winners have been within 5th place. A couple have led the way, wire to wire. So keep that in mind. I'll be certainly following that after the first round and kind of looking at that top 5. Maybe I'll branch out a little further, but I'm going to keep it pretty close to that because history tends to repeat itself.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not a course you can blast a -9, round and, fly from 40th up to 2nd. So that makes sense. Absolutely. So my favorite hole on this one, I'm going to go with the 11th hole. It's par 4. It's kind of shorter, 418 yards. I just love holes that they randomly put obstacles in the middle of the fairway. I love it. This hole has not 1, but 3 bunkers in the fairway near the landing area. The main bunker can probably be cleared by most of these guys. It's about 280 yards out. But drives that land long and to the right, those are probably going to dribble into the bunkers that are about 315 yards out there. They're really annoying. If you hit the fairway, this is a super easy approach. It's a big green. It's not that difficult of a green to get the ball to hold from the yards that these guys are going to be. But you put it in any of those fairway bunkers, you run the risk of a bad lie, maybe up against the lip. It just makes the approaches just a little bit different. So I like the 11th hole. I think it's pretty funny. Like I said, I love obstacles in the middle of fairways. They're one of my favorites. So we'll go with that one. And the 18th hole rating, we got a par 5, 610 yards. I don't like easy par 5s to end a tournament, but give me a long one that's not really reachable in 2. The landing area for tee shots, it's a bit narrow. If you hit the fairway, that's the only prayer you have to get there in 2. I don't think most of these guys are going to be able to do it, even if they hit the fairway. Second shots, listen, it's kind of what yardage do the guys want to leave themselves? Do you want 80 yards? Do you want 100 yards? Do you want to really try and blast it up there 20 or 30 yards short for an up and down? The fairway's kind of split up there by the green, so you can go to the left of it for a little bit, closer of an angle. You go off to the right, it's still not that difficult of an angle, but this comes down to the third shot. This hole does. So I don't think you're going to see guys putting for eagle on this one unless they absolutely smoke a just perfect drive. And even then you may need wind at your back for the second shot. So, I don't think there's much difference in the left and the right leaning areas up there, but it's a third shot, which is kind of different for a lot of the par 5s that we see on tour. Good finishing hole, not terribly challenging. I don't see a lot of bogeys coming from this hole. So final rating is a 5.9 on this one. Pretty good, solid finishing hole. I like 600 plus yards on the par 5s. So we're going to get to the total strokes gained. If you guys could hit the like button, really, really helps us out. Just boost the algorithm a little bit, helps us out if you're enjoying the content. Also, leave us a comment section, still on fire. A lot of really good picks. Post in there who you like this week. Love seeing who everybody's on. Now, if you got a good long shot guy, maybe that we haven't mentioned on the show, that'd be great to hear about them. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a lot of great content here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Hit the bell and you get notified whenever the videos are released. And listen, It's Masters week next week. If you're not subscribed to
Yeah.
the channel, at least subscribe to the channel for next week. We are going to dominate Masters content. So make sure that you're ready to rock for that. All right, let's take a look at the total strokes gained. Nick does a great job. This graphic tells you everything you need to know about the top 10 total strokes gained. We got last 3 months, last 6 months, last 12 months, and a couple notable guys. All right, Nick, decipher here. What can we take away from this chart?
Well, funnily enough, I think this is the wrong chart that I have to put up each week because let me say that again. So if you look at the very, very top, you got the percentage of in that green bar, 68% of winners over basically now the last 2.5 years on major events and signatures have been in this graphic, right? Well, we're now 0 for 9. Minwoo Lee was another guy not inside the top 10 last week on these non-signature events. The average ranking of the person has been 37th. So I think next week's the major, but the next non-major, I will choose players ranked between 30th and 40th in the top 10, or heading to the top 30 or top 40 strokes gained over the last 12 months, and that will be where we'll find the winner. But I'll say Victor Hovland was 15th, Minwoo Lee was 16th, so they're still pretty close, but it has not produced a winner yet. These are the long term; these are your best odds guys. These are the best players over the last year. So there's really not a lot of surprise here, guys. Notables like Tony Finau, Sam Burns, both trending in the wrong direction, and really not. We haven't really heard their names as far as making noise. Maybe around here, around there, but not as far as the tournament. So makes sense to try to avoid those guys. The notables, Berger's been quietly playing very, very steady golf. I think he's been in the top 25 in every start so far this year. Bridgman, another guy that's just quietly making cuts and cashing decent finishes. And Bud Cauley as well, who's a little more noisy because he's got 2 top 10 finishes, including that close run of the Players. So those are the guys that I think are trending in the right direction and could be ones to make noise this week. They're not in the top 10, but they're definitely playing the right way. Otherwise, in your top 10, our one and dones are here. You mentioned Fleetwood. I feel like he's going to have a good week. He just doesn't have a bad week. He just never wins. Hideki, you never know. I mean, it's like when you forget about Hideki, that's when he does well. But since he ranks here near the top this week, might not be the week to choose him. And I'm hoping to see something special, Andy, from Ludvig this week. He had that runner-up last year at the Masters. I want to see just a little trend because I want to bet the heck out of him next week. But I'm hesitant this week, knowing that this is just probably for him, that prep week to get ready for next week. So I'm not sure how much true focus is on this particular week. And that's always a little bit of a danger the week before the major. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at some of these big names, might be worth going down into the 20 to 30th ranked area to try to find your winner this week. But this is the top 10. I always want to show it because these are the guys playing the best over the last year.
All right, let's have some fun. You have to pick one, Finau or Burns, for this week. 2 guys that have been, compared to years past, they've been, I would say, awful compared to what their ceiling is.
Correct.
They're just absolutely terrible.
Finau's bread and butter in past, maybe not this year, has been his long iron play. He's one of the better guys on tour as far as proximity goes, and this course fits that. So I would go with Finau.
I'll go with Finau too. Burns has just been, 2 missed cuts in a row. He's not breaking the top 40. He's all over the place this year. So sadly, the books know all about it. Yeah, the books know all about it. They're not giving you cupcake matchups to fade him. So, well, let's move to players that can trip you up. You already mentioned him, and I'm going right to the top with Ludvig Åberg. He has all the upside in the world. We know this. Has a win this year. But man, Nick, since then, missed cut in a 22nd. He's outside the top 30 in this field for total strokes gained the last 30 days, and it's all about his irons. He's negative total strokes gained approach and around the green, and that's a pretty terrible place to be with Augusta next week, Nick. like bad around the greens and bad with your irons. Look out. So I think he's using this week to just get one more round in to get dialed in. And what makes me worried is I wonder if his number one motivating factor this week is winning, or is it all about getting some practice in for next week?
Yeah.
He's the number one betting favorite. I just don't see it this week when your irons are struggling this bad. So not going to be betting on Ludvig Åberg this week. All right, here we go. Corey Connors. I have been burned probably more by Corey Connors than any other golfer on the PGA Tour right now. He is the ultimate guy that plays good. He sucks you in and he breaks your heart. He always does this. He's finished top 10 in 3 straight tournaments. Nick, I went back through all of his years. He has never done that. This is the first
Whoa, I
time he
didn't
is
I didn't know
coming
that.
in.
Seriously?
Yes, I went through his
Wow.
entire career. You cannot
All right, so
find
this is not
3
good.
tournaments in a row with top 10 finishes. And I'm expecting the regression on him. Before the top 10s, he finished 24th, 74th, 65th, missed cut. I think he might be ready to lay that egg. I'm not falling for it again. No, I can't do it with Corey Connors, so I will not be betting on Corey Connors. He won't be in my seasonal fantasy lineup. He won't be in my DFS lineup. So Corey Connors just terrifies me. When he gets on a good run, it's just when he's there to let you down. So, and then curious, why is Patrick Cantlay playing this? He's never played this tournament. I don't know why he's
Strange.
playing it this week. I went back and looked. So the last 4 years, he has never played in between the Masters and the Players. The last 4 years, never. He hasn't played one tournament. This is just
Wow.
out of sorts for. Yeah, is out of sorts for him. He finished 31st and 12th the last 2 tournaments. His current form isn't great. His price is a top 5 guy this week. I'm just not real confident he's returning results. And I think this is kind of similar to Ludvig, where just get in there, work on certain shots that you want to be working on. This was a Phil Mickelson specialty back when he was on the PGA Tour. He was open. I remember one year he said, "I'm playing this week because I'm just going to practice shots that I know I need to hit next week, whether or not the hole this week like demands it. I need to work on my fades or my pulls or something." And yes, yeah, and then he went out and missed the cut, but he was happy because he got to work on in a tournament some of the shots he's working on. So I wonder if that's what Cantlay and Ludvig are doing. So Ludvig, Åberg, Corey Connors, and Patrick Cantlay, 3 players that I think can trip you up. All right, Nick, we're going to go to what a transition. Let's go to your favorite this week. Break him down for us.
All right. Well, before I get to Corey Connors, is why I like him as a favorite. I will say this: to be fair to Patrick Cantlay, he's never ever really been close at any major. So clearly, his prep for any major has never worked. So he probably does need to try to do something a little different. Maybe he's just like, well, I got to shake this whole thing up because I've never really been close. So good luck, Cantlay. I will not be betting you next week. Corey Connors, Andy. All right. I can totally see. I mean, his price. Let's put it this way: Corey Connors probably should never be listed as 16-1 to win any golf tournament. I will agree with you there. So I do believe the value on his number is not great. However, I look at it like this: I'm picking a favorite, and of I'll say the top 10 strokes graphic that we looked at the beginning of the show. He's kind of the guy I like the most out of that graphic. So if I'm choosing one of these guys in the favorite realm, I'm going to go with Corey Connors. And obviously, if you watch any golf and you know the history of this event, it's not a surprise. He's twice a winner. He's 6 for 6 in cuts made. So I'm confident he's going to get us to the weekend and cash something when I mention him for the one and done. And then that leads me to believe if he has, 1 or 2 solid rounds somewhere in the tournament, that's going to put him in the top 20, top 10 or top 20. The thing that I like about Connors is he's so consistent and accurate when he's tee to green. He never really gets in major trouble. And as we mentioned, your driver could get you into some weird spots this week, and all of a sudden a double bogey could sneak up on you. I don't think Connors is going to face that at all, or much like as much as some other players might. So I think that alone kind of gives him a little bit of let's say a half a stroke lead each round or something like that, right? So I look at it that way as well. You mentioned, I did not know this, but yes, 3 straight top 10 finishes, which 3rd at the Arnold Palmer, tied for 6th at the Players, tied for 8th at the Valspar. I did not know it was the first time he's ever done that, which remarkable to believe considering I feel like the guy's been on tour for a long time at this point. So I can't believe that hasn't happened, and maybe that is a bad sign of what's to come. But going back to where his profile is, I mentioned he's a tee to green guy, but his putter and short game around the green have come alive. He's gained strokes in both categories in 4 straight starts now, Andy. If you go back over the last year, he's only done that on 5 total occasions in the last year. Now he's done it 4 straight weeks. So maybe there's something to whatever he's been doing in the greens and around the greens that's helped him. And of course, he's comfortable on these greens. So again, I don't love his value, But of the favorites this week, he would be the guy I'd put my
I'm rooting for him. I would much rather you be right than me be right here. I would much rather lay off, what's the saying? I'd much rather lay off a winner than give out a loser. So
Yeah,
I'm pulling for you. I know he's going to be a super super popular play, so I'm pulling
yeah, of
for
course he
Corey,
is.
Corey
Yeah, not
Connors.
a good DraftKings play this week is what I'm sure you'll lead us to.
Way overpriced. Very, very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
overpriced. So, and Nick, you got a really good soccer special going. Tell everyone about that. Really, really great price. And you, my friend, are coming off a 5-0 sweep in MLS. So, congratulations on that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great MLS weekend, 5-0, going for 7 straight winning seasons there, and 15 units, almost 15 units, 14 change so far for the season. So great start there. And yes, the European soccer season is nearing an end. Champions League finals, where it all culminates, that is May 31st. So today is April 1st. You got 2 full months, and you get MLS too. So every soccer play, all European soccer, and of course all MLS, basically BOGO. Normally 1 month is 99. You're going to get 2 months for 99 bucks. Includes all MLS, as I mentioned, includes all 5% releases along the way. So definitely a great deal. It's going to be up for the next week. Check that out. We're up 51 units over the last 11 months, ranking number 1. So looking to that's in soccer. So looking to finish this season strong. So 2 months, 99 bucks. That's on my page right
Love it. Congratulations. And it's an unbelievable streak in MLS. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Let's take a look at some DraftKings Darlings. Depending on which tournament you entered last week, you were right on the cusp line of cashing or not cashing. So hard to give an exact like where were we, because we were like right in the middle of the road there. So hopefully you were on the right side of the cut, as we say on this show. Let's take a look at Sami Valimaki at 7,100 as our first DraftKings Darlings. He's playing well as of late. 4th place finish last week. That's 5 made cuts in a row, plus 0.21 tee to green and plus 0.43 putting the last 30 days. So I'm going to ride with him one more week. Just looking for guys in really, really good form, short-term good form. You can find some good values this week in a field that doesn't have a huge bunch of big names, and wonder what the motivating factors are for those guys. So Sami Valimaki at 7,100 is good. And listen, Sam Ryder 7,200 is the MVP of DraftKings Darlings this year. The streak continues, Nick. Ryder made the cut again last week. 9 straight made cuts to start 2025. Yeah, man, he's getting there.
And he did it without a hole in one.
I know. Yes, he's like the hole-in-one king, which, listen, you get big points for holes in one at 7,200. Where you're probably guaranteed to cash that lineup. His tee to green isn't great, but his putting has been fantastic. And a hot putter, that's all we need to keep making cuts with Sam Ryder. So as long as he's below the 7,500 mark, he's just got to be a must add. You're getting a guy at less than 7,500 that's making the cut every single week. So Sam Ryder at 7,200. And then Jesper Svensson, he's made 6 cuts in a row. He was 27th last week. So, okay, give me a little glimpse of a top 30 upside. He can hit the ball a mile. This guy's distance is insane. His putting has been really good this season at plus 0.55 strokes gained putting. Approaches have been the weak part of his game. It's a little worrying, but when you're driving the ball a mile and you're hitting putts, you can do a lot of damage. And at 7,200, we just need him to make the cut here. So Sami Valimaki, Sam Ryder, and Jesper Svensson are my DraftKings Darlings for this week. And like always, the rest of the lineup is up on the free digital download on my profile page, wt.buzz/AL. It's got the course breakdown. It's got the write-ups on the players that can trip you up. It's got the write-ups on the DraftKings Darlings. And it also has our 3-month special that's up there. Last week, to grab that, we're knocking 30% off instant discount. We just turned profit in March. That means that we've turned a profit in all sports in all 3 months of 2025. And an incredible 14 out of the last 17 months, we have been profitable. So want to give people a chance to see what we can do over 3 months. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that. So a lot of hard work goes into it. You get several handicappers as part of my team, and the results are there. So number one the last 2 years, and you can get 30% off 3 months. WT.buzz/AL. You will get all percentages, all 5% plays. We're 8-1 in 5% plays in 2025, and of course, you're going to get all the plays for the Masters next week. So take advantage of that. We always preach long term, but we live it. These are plays that we bet with our own money. This is how we build our bankrolls, and we can certainly do the same for you. All right, Nick, let's go to your long shot, and I know who it is, and I love it. I love this guy this week. I thought I was the only one that noticed, but let's talk Bud Cauley. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I think it's probably not a surprise if you are watching recently. He's got two very, very strong finishes. He's coming off tied for fourth last week at the Valspar. Of course, a lot of people will remember his Players run, where she was very close to pulling that thing off. He ultimately finished tied for sixth there. So back-to-back top 10 finishes for Bud Cauley. And he's in that sweet spot of 50-1. It's kind of like that range I like to target for this segment. He's strong. He was strong throughout the bag in those two events, though his approach and his putter really spiked those last two starts. That's going to likely have to continue to make some noise again this week, but the signs are there. He's 5 for 6 this year, Andy, in cuts made. You go back to the beginning of the fall season last year, and he's 9 for his last 11 as far as cuts made. So depending on the price offered to make the cut market, that might be another good way to play Cauley this week. I do believe he'll be there on the weekend. Listen, this guy's coming, but if you don't know his story, he missed nearly 3.5 years in the PGA Tour, and he's just over a year into his return. So it's taken a while to kind of get back to this level. And, you look at the first, I don't even know, 9-10 months of his comeback, it's what you'd expect it to be. It's just 47th cut, 50th cut, 30th cut, so it was just getting the reps, and now the results are starting to come. So when it comes to this event specifically, again, there's gaps here between his starts, but he has played in this event 6 times in his career. He does have 2 missed cuts, but he's also got a top 10, or he's got a tie for 10th and a tie for 18th. So he has a couple strong showings here as well. I just think he's trending in the right way. I think his price is very solid at 50-1. Top 10's 450 and a top 20's plus 220, both good prices as well. So I do think he makes noise this week. I think he'll get to the weekend again. So I think looking at the cut price, it's not out there yet, but I think it's something I'm going to look for as soon as it gets released. But I like Bud Cauley to once again make some noise this week. Hopefully give us a Sunday sweat and maybe cash a 50-1 come Sunday.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Rooting for Bud Cauley. You don't see guys miss that much time and make it back tour. So good to see him out there. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. We are gearing up for next week for the Masters, so make sure you tune in. We'll have a bigger and badder show with all kinds of new things. We'll be doing our one-and-dones. We'll be doing the course preview, but really important that we take advantage of the opportunities this week. It's a very bettable tournament, but really, we're really getting ready for next week. So hit the like button, leave a comment in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel. Yes.
I was going to say, are we pulling like a Ludvig or a Hideki? We're just using this like a Phil. We're using this show to tune up for next week's show. It's just a tune-up show, guys.
Yes. I was just practicing my players that can trip you up segment to get ready for next week.
Exactly.
I'll have a bunch of them. so, yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and it's best golf week of the year, in my opinion. So don't forget to check us out next week. Good luck on your plays this week, and we will see everyone later.